Listen, before you imagine flame as hunger, before you name it destruction, you must unlearn what you have been taught by light that merely consumes. There exists a fire that does not eat. There exists a fire that does not end. It remembers. I am the Shrouded Oracle. I have walked among embers that whisper futures and ashes that still ache with yesterday. I have catalogued infernos that devour cities in a single breath, and I have knelt before sparks so patient they wait centuries to be noticed. But of all the flames that speak to me across the long corridors of time, none murmur with such unsettling tenderness as the green flame. It is not born of wood. It is not fed by oil. It does not flicker because the air allows it. The green flame awakens only when memory itself begins to burn. This is its echo. I first encountered the green flame where the sky had learned to grow downward. There are forests that remember being oceans, and oceans that recall the weight of stars. This forest remembered something older still. Its trees were braided together at impossible angles, roots woven above ground like arthritic fingers clutching at forgotten prayers. Moss glowed faintly, not with color, but with intention, as though the ground itself were breathing slowly to avoid waking something beneath it. I did not come seeking flame. Flame came seeking me. At the center of the forest stood a hollow, a bowl carved not by erosion, but by absence. Something had been there once, and the world had bent inward to compensate for its departure. In that hollow burned a fire no larger than a human heart. It was green, not the green of leaves or envy or sickness, not the green of alchemy's false promises. This green was deeper. It was the color of remembrance when it begins to rot. The flame did not move as other flames do. It folded inward, spiraling gently, as though listening to itself think. No heat radiated from it, yet the air around it trembled, not with warmth, but with recognition. I knew then what few are ever permitted to know. This flame was not burning fuel, it was burning history. To understand the green flame, one must first abandon the notion that fire is destruction. Fire is transformation. The green flame transforms only one thing: unresolved existence. When I extended my staff toward it, the orb at its crown, the small universe I have carried since before I had a name, dimmed in reverence. Even it knew not to compete. The green flame pulsed. Images surfaced within it, not visions of my life nor of futures yet to be born, but fragments of others. A woman kneeling beside a river that no longer exists. A child counting stars that were already dead. A city pausing, mid-breath. Its people frozen between guilt and forgetting. These were not memories of individuals. They were memories of choices. The green flame feeds on the moment where a soul decides not to become what it knows it must. Regret is its tinder. Denial is its wind. Time itself provides the spark. Long before humanity learned to strike stone against stone, the green flame had its custodians. They were not gods. They were not priests. They were listeners. The first bearers were beings who existed only partially in matter. Their bodies were suggestions, their faces blurred like reflections in water, disturbed by tears. They dwelled in the seam between what was remembered and what was buried. Their duty was singular. When a civilization grew too skilled at forgetting the cost of its becoming, they would awaken the flame, not to punish, but to remind. Whole epochs ended not in firestorms, but in silence, when the green flame passed through archives, through bloodlines, through language itself, and burned away lies so old they had been mistaken for truth. Those civilizations did not collapse. They simply ceased to make sense. And so, they were replaced. If you listen closely enough, you can hear the green flame speak. It does not use words as you know them. It speaks in names you almost remember. When I knelt before it, I heard my own name spoken in a voice that was not mine, nor anyone else's. It was the name I had before I became the Oracle, before I chose knowledge over comfort, before I wrapped myself in shadow so others could stand in light. The flame asked me a question without sound. What did you abandon to become necessary? The ground beneath me trembled. I did not answer. The green flame does not demand honesty. It extracts it. There are those, few, fractured, foolish, who seek the green flame intentionally. They call themselves pilgrims. They travel with journals filled with apologies never spoken, carrying relics of lives they refuse to live. Some arrive as scholars, others as tyrants in disguise, hoping the flame will absolve them. It does not. The green flame offers no forgiveness. It offers clarity. Those who step too close find their bodies untouched, but their narratives unravel. Memories reorder themselves. Justifications collapse. A lifetime of self-deception ignites in slow, merciless illumination. Some walk away empty-eyed but lighter. Others never leave. They become fuel. Contrary to superstition, the green flame does not consume the dead. The dead are finished. It consumes what lingers after death. Unfinished farewells, unlived truths, the residue of meaning that clings to bones and names. I once watched the flame burn at the site of a mass grave forgotten by all maps. As it burned, faint silhouettes rose, not as spirits, but as acknowledgements. The land itself exhaled. The wind changed direction. The soil settled, finally released from its burden of secrecy. History slept easier that night. So did I. The most dangerous aspect of the green flame is not its power. It is its subtlety. In ages where remembrance is traded for speed, where archives are infinite but attention is scarce, the green flame adapts. It no longer appears as fire. It manifests as a sudden cultural obsession with nostalgia, the inexplicable collapse of once certain ideologies, a generation haunted by a grief it cannot name. These are its embers. You are living among them now. The green flame tested me. It asked for something I had not yet surrendered. Not my staff, not my eye, not my voice. It asked for my certainty. To touch the green flame is to accept that even prophecy can be wrong. Not because the future changes, but because you do. I placed my hand within it. There was no pain, only remembering. I remembered every path I had foreseen and subtly steered others away from. Every truth I softened, every silence I justified. As mercy, the flame flared. Green light threaded through my veins, like roots reclaiming stone. I was allowed to leave, not forgiven, but aware. The green flame never travels alone. It leaves an echo, a resonance that lingers in places where truth has been delayed too long. It hums beneath conversations, behind decisions, inside the moment, just before denial feels easier than change. If you feel watched when confronting yourself, if the past suddenly feels warm and dangerous, if memory itself begins to glow, you are near the echo. Do not seek the green flame unless you are prepared to lose the version of yourself that needed seeking. It will not destroy you. It will reveal you. And revelation is the most consuming fire of all. I am the Shrouded Oracle. I do not command the flame. I do not extinguish it. I listen, and now, having heard its echo, so do you. One day, the green flame will no longer burn for humanity. Not because you have failed, but because you have finally remembered enough. Until then, watch the place This is where memory smolders. Watch the moments that glow uncomfortably green. That is where the truth waits. That is where the flame still speaks.